So I'm going to talk a little bit about how we as an Indigenous people have never really been in control of how we are presented.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Thomas. I am Mi'kmaq First Nation and I am Halifax's Poet Laureate. I gave a talk on Indigenous perspective and how our Indigenous voices tend to be silenced or overwritten by a colonial narrative. I think, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, that sort of thing. I think it's really important to instill multiple perspectives and multiple narratives and storylines from different ethnicities with regards to Indigenous, any other kind of ethnic background, so that they have an understanding that there's more than just one truth, and so what you see as a truth, as a fundamental truth, might not necessarily be as true or as holistic and all-encompassing as you think it is.
Be sure to diversify your pieces. You wouldn't want to be pigeonholed as the native poet. So it was said to me and me to myself in my constant self-doubt that my passion for my people would fall on deaf ears and rolled eyes. The following, a taste of why I will never give in on hustling my allies. Every word is something I've witnessed, read, or heard. So I ask that you listen before you tell me what I say is absurd.
I think it's coming along. I think Vanya is really great because it's so diverse. Like, I looked at the faces in the audience and it was incredibly diverse. You do this sort of talk in, say, Nova Scotia, and there might be 10 people of color in the audience, right? But there's definitely more diversity here, so I think that exposure normalizes different perspectives, and so I think there is progress, certainly in certain areas, but there's still a very long way to go. A lot of people were really impressed. A lot of people said, I never thought about it that way, and that's the whole point. I want people to go, I didn't think of it that way, and if that happens, then I'm doing my job. And so I had a lot of that. I didn't know about that. You framed it in a way, it never occurred to me that status cards were a bad thing, all that sort of stuff. So it was really cool to hear that my message was going through and that I was changing minds. Because sometimes you get she's a social justice warrior, who does she think she is? So it's really nice to get the positive feedback side of things. Be critical, I guess. Always question what you hear and what you read, especially when it comes to voices that you don't necessarily hear from the source. So when you're hearing a story about an Indigenous person, ask yourself, is it an Indigenous story? Is it an Indigenous voice? Is it an Indigenous person who's telling that perspective? And if it's not, be critical.